morning if you're in Australia. Good evening, middle of the night. I don't know what it is wherever else you are in the world. We're back for the next session of our Global SU Share Fair. My name is Tracy Held and I'm in Melbourne in Australia. I'm sure that you saw my intro video and you're wondering what I was so excited about my card. So without further ado, let me show you. And yes, you can see nothing because that's the top of it. So let's tilt it so it does stand, okay? But that's what it looks like when you're actually seeing the front of it. And the cool thing is that when it's ready to be put into an envelope to be posted, it all folds flat. So you can post it in a standard size envelope. See, everybody's telling me what time it is in their wherever they are. It's crazy with the different time zones, but isn't it amazing that with the technology we can actually do this? All right, so let's go through the products that I'm using and then I'll get started on showing you my card. So Kindest Gnomes stamp set with the matching gnomes dies, and then I'm using the Storybook Gnomes DSP. And if you haven't seen this DSP, let's just quickly flip through it. So these are the gnomes. The really nice thing about the gnomes is that the dies match. So, oops, if you can see, so you can cut out the dies without having to fussy cut. Score one for me because we all know I'm not big on the fussy cutting thing. And then we've got that sheet, mushrooms, cute little gnomes with their homes, and the moose. And then the flip sides are a bit more sedate. So we've got Christmas trees, snowflakes, or they could be flowers, I suppose, more snowflakes. That one's got the mushrooms, and again, oops, let me throw my dies. The mushroom die will cut out the mushrooms here. And then we've got that and that. So more snowflakes over there. And of course, at the moment, we have the happiest time of the year in terms of Stampin' Up because it's celebration. So who doesn't love getting free stuff? So what you'll find is that throughout the presentations, a lot of us, sorry, I'm just pulling out the DSP here that I can just show you what's in this pack. A lot of us are using the celebration products. So this is the Rings of Love DSP, and it's got some really pretty pieces in it. Okay, little houses. Wouldn't that go nicely with the gnomes? And then we've got those flowers and the little birds, and then again the reverse sides are a little bit more muted but still completely usable. So today I've used this and the reverse side of that. Okay, then I'm using the Snowflake Accents Puff Paint, which comes as part of the Gnomes stamp set. I'm using the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems, which is also part of that suite, and the Brushed Metallic Adhesive Back Dots. Okay, so let's get on to making my card. Now, I will put all the measurements up in the description afterwards, so I'm only going to tell you the measurements for things that are important for now. So if you're using A4 paper, you're going to cut this fractionally smaller. Okay, so I've cut off 2 millimeters, so it's 29.5 centimeters long. And if you're using, don't know why things don't seem to be where I'm used to them being today. If you're using inches, it's your standard 11 inches across. And then we're going to do some scoring. Quite a bit of scoring actually. Okay, so I'm scoring. Okay, I'm putting my gnome card aside. We'll bring it back in a minute once I've done with all of this. Okay, so at 1.5 centimeters, then 3.5, 5.5, 7.5, and then again at 22, 24, 26, and 28 centimeters. Okay, so if you're working in inches, it's going to be 1/2 inch, then 1 1/4, 2, 2 3/4, and then 8 1/4, 9, 9 3/4, and 10.5. Okay, so that's all our scoring done. And I'm going to just fold and press all those score lines. Bring my card back in. So this is making those pillar bits over there. And we're doing the same on the other side. Okay. Now, I have 6 strips of DSP cut. So what we're going to do is on the wrong side of the card, I have a million glues and none of them come to hand when I need them. We're going to stick these strips of DSP down, and these I've cut. If you're really fussy, you can make sure that you know which order they're in, and keep them that the pattern's consecutive, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't really need to follow through. It's random enough. Alright, so not on the first piece, but we're going on the other 3. Okay, so while we're sticking, who's had a look at the celebration items that are available this time around? And which is your favorite? I think I have a problem deciding which one I like best. It's a bit of a mood of the day thing. Why do I have an extra one here? Okay. So, Okay, so now we've got those pillars decorated, and what we're going to do is stick down the end piece. So the way that I do it is just fold that over and then fold that and stick. And we just want to give that Tombow a couple of seconds. Oh good, Shirley, so at least I chose your favorite. That's great. What does everybody think of the hippos? Aren't they cute? And I've just stuck something wrong. Okay, why did it? Okay, I moved it too far. That's all right. I'm going to be sticking my piece over, so we'll hide the mistake. Okay, so when you're sticking that end down, you don't want to fold to the very last one. You want the second one, which kind of makes sense. Let's do it right on this side. There we go. And then if we've stuck that correctly, we've got our pillars forming. Now, ordinarily I would be pretty upset, but with that one, it's not going to matter because we're sticking a piece of DSP over there. So isn't it great when you can just cover up your mistakes? There we go. Like I never did that. Right, so there's our card base done. Now, as I said, we've cut out some of the gnomes using the dies and the mushrooms, and I did fussy cut a few birds. There was no getting out of that one, but I only cut 3, so one for this, one for that one, and an extra one just in case. Now what I've done here with the mushroom is, if you look on the DSP, you've got some little half mushrooms on the side, so I've cut that out, and what I'm going to do with that is stick it on the back of the card. So don't worry about those half mushrooms, you can still use them. Oops. And of course, because this one's facing the other direction, it's going to go on the other side of my card. There we go. And then this can get stuck onto the back so that I've got a nice little place to write my note. Okay, I don't know why my board just seems to be a little bit off today. I'm going to just try and make sure that I'm working a bit higher up so that you can actually keep seeing what I'm doing and I'm not disappearing off camera. Okay, now I don't know if you can see here, but there we go. Can you see how his beard is all textured? Now, when I was sitting crafting with a friend last weekend, I was busy making this card, and she said to me, she immediately wanted to see the gnomes and what it was all about. So I showed her in the catalogue, and I showed her the snowball puff paint, and she said, "Oh, you can use that for the beard." And I said, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I wonder if you can. Let's give it a try." So I did, and it works. So That's all thanks to my friend Sonia, because I would not have thought of it if she hadn't mentioned it. So have a look here. You want to take the puff paint, and it comes out quite fast, so don't worry about that, because you actually want it quite thick so that you're going to get that texture. Okay, and then it does take a little bit longer to heat set than your embossing powder. Okay, so sorry, we're getting a bit of noise. Just be patient. Wait for it to puff. So don't stop your heat embossing too quickly. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry, I had the heat gun over it, so you couldn't really see it setting, but you can see it does take a little bit longer. But there you go, look at that, he's got a lovely hairy beard. And what I found is that if you find that there's patches where you've been a little less generous and it looks a bit flat, just go and put a bit more of the puff paint over it and heat it up again, and it'll come up. So you can do it multiple times. Right, then we need, oops, that left some moisture at the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to stamp our sentiment. I'm using Memento for that, and I particularly wanted a long thin sentiment, so you know, like some of these others, that one would probably work. That may be a bit short, and the Merry Christmas and Happy New Year would work as well. If you wanted your sentiment to be smaller, there's absolutely nothing to say that you couldn't do it, but I wanted it to be poking up. Now let's hope I can stamp this straight. That looks good to me. Okay. And all that I'm going to do is cut the ends at an angle. And I have a strip of soft succulent, which I'm going to stick my little sentiment onto. Oops. Let's get glue everywhere. And just match up the angle on the edges. Okay, I'm very sorry, I have to do that again because I've just realized I already messed it up, because I actually need that strip to be longer so that there's room for my sentiment to sit underneath my gnome. So take 2 on the sentiment. And that's smudged, so we'll go. Why is it that you can never stamp things perfectly when you're on camera, but it works absolutely fine when you're not? I'm sure that we all complain about the same thing because it seems to happen to all of us. You cannot stamp straight without smudging, and you cannot tie bows when you're on camera. We'll get that right one of these days. Alright, so try this again. We're going to stick it on there, and I don't actually need that end angled. I think I'm so used to doing it. That end needs to be a little bit shorter. That needs to be cut at an angle. And that needs a bit of space at the end. There we go, finally got there. Okay, so now we're taking my card and I'm going to stick my mushrooms on. So we want them to look like they staggered ones slightly further away than the other one. So here I'm sticking everything flat because then when I'm closing it to put it into the post, there's nothing that's going to cause anything extra, because obviously that is a little bit more bulky than it would ordinarily be. We're going to have a little bird sitting on top of the mushroom. So he can sit over there. Right, and then this gnome, we're just putting some glue up the middle over there so that he can sit on that pillar, or she can sit on that pillar rather. I'm assuming that because she's got long braids, it's a she, and the one with the beard would be a he. And then we're putting a bit of glue on the end there, but I just want to see where we want it positioned. So, yep, that looks okay to me. Go. And then he's sticking over the sentiment. Yeah. Some cards just make you happy because you look at them and they just go, yeah, this one is just so cute that every time I look at it, I smile. We need to finish off with a bit of bling. So I'm going to use the brushed metallic adhesive dots, and we're going to stick those down for the doorknob. I'm using different colors for the doorknobs just because I can, but if you like the same color, you can use the same color. And we need some of the sparkles just on the card. So I think that this time I'm going to use this, I think it's pale papaya. Didn't give as much space. Okay, maybe that'll just have one because I didn't give as much space on the sentiment here. Sometimes cards come out however they want to come out. So there we go. There's our two gnome cards. Don't you think that those are cute? And it's the sweet more than me, really. And what I really like about this is I didn't have to fussy cut much and I didn't have to color in. So perfect for me. And you've got your mushroom on the back where you can write your note. Okay, so that's my presentation for today. Up next at 10:30 my time, so on the half hour your time wherever you are, is Annette, and she's going to be working with the Wonderful World. I'm going to say sweet bundle. I'm not sure. It's a DSP and stamp set from Celebration, and I can't wait to see what she's doing. I absolutely love that one. So just a reminder that Celebration is on at the moment, so place your order. It's whatever your minimum value is in your area, and you can choose your free celebration item. The more you order, the more stuff you get. And remember, celebration is only July and August, so plan your orders that you don't miss out on your celebration items. Follow up with the demonstrator that invited you to the share fair, and they'll be happy to help you place your order or place your order for you. If you've ever thought of becoming a demonstrator, chat to them about that too, because there's a great joining offer where you get a beautiful planner free just for joining up. If you missed any of the videos or you want to go and re-watch some, go and have a look in the album, because all the photos of the cards will be in the album and the video link to those cards will be there. So enjoy the rest of the presentations. I can't wait to see what everybody else has come up with. Most of it was going on during the night while I was sleeping, so I have a few of the other ones to catch up with. But that's what I'm going to be doing on this cold Melbourne day. Enjoy the rest of the share fair, and we will see you next time. Till then, bye.